So today we're going to talk about instinct versus impulse. What's the difference? What are they and how they can make you a better actor or not maybe. I had to really think about this one. What is the difference between an impulse and an instinct? I looked up the definition. One of the things that I do in my teaching is that I have my students look up a lot of words in the dictionary, okay? No, you don't have to go to the book. You can use the Google dictionary. But because we all have assumptions of what words mean, and yet the words are what we're given as an actor that we have to bring to life. And so it's so important that we go back to kind of like the home base, the basics of what these words mean. And sometimes I just got to go back to the dictionary to look it up. Is instinct is a knowingness within you. That made me think of intuition. And I'm like, all these words, instinct, intuition, impulse. And it's interesting because instinct and intuition both start with the word in. So that must mean that we have to go in, right? This is the definition of impulse that's in the dictionary. Impulse refers to a sudden urge or desire. Impulse, a sudden, strong, and unreflective, that's what's interesting, unreflected urge or desire to act, often without much thought or consideration of the consequence. So that made me think, wow, okay, refers to a sudden urge or desire. An impulse is a sudden, strong, or unreflective urge or desire to act, often without thought or consideration of the consequences. And I thought, ooh, I don't think I want to use my impulses in acting because I think that I think that it's important that I am more conscious of what my thoughts are. Here, now, let's look at what instinct is. Okay? Well, that's what's interesting. That's why the dictionary is so important. That's why I get passionate about the dictionary. You see, is because we have these ideas of what words mean, but that's the dictionary definition of what that word means. Okay? Instinct is innate, typically a fixed pattern of behavior in response to certain stimuli. Or instinct is the natural tendency that a person has to behave or react in a particular way. So it's a fixed pattern of behavior. I think the other piece about instinct, I also then looked up, can you change your instincts? Can you work with your instincts? Because I thought, if these are two things that we just have and that we're using them as actors, are they to our advantage is the question. Is it really helping me to be a better actor, for one? And two, well, what's training about then? These are just statements that use the word impulse in them, and then I get a better understanding of the word impulse. He couldn't resist the impulse to eat the entire cake. She had an impulse to tell her boss off, but she held her tongue. He acted on impulse and booked a trip to Europe, even though he couldn't afford it. The impulse to run was strong, but she stayed and faced her fears. So I think that there may be impulses that come from characters and from situations that come along. But it's the choice, it's the consciousness of staying or dealing with that. How do you do that? And so instinct, on the other hand, is a natural or innate behavior that is hardwired into your brains. Her motherly instincts told her that something was wrong with her child. He had a gut instinct that the deal was too good to be true. The cat's instinct to hunt was evidence as it stalked its prey. She followed her instincts and took the back roads to avoid traffic. Her instincts told her that he was lying. So we listen to our instincts, but we don't impulsively always act on them, right? And I think our instincts, what I also then is I looked up, can you change your instincts? Can you learn to affect your instincts? Because then if we're just working on our instincts and our impulses and our intuition as an actor, and that's my problem with acting is reacting, because I think acting is so much more than just reacting. It's not, it's such a simplified, and I think it's probably taken out of context, is that acting isn't only reacting, it's listening, it's having an intention, it's knowing the details and the facts of the script. It's all of those things that then allow you to react. And then if acting is reacting and you're just working on impulses, then it's not necessarily going to be aligned with the story or the script or your instincts. So then I was like, can you change your instincts? And it said, yes, you can. If you learn to if you learn to use your instincts to your advantage, you'll deal with stress and feel better in a better way. What's more, cultivating, you can cultivate instincts. It says you can cultivate instincts like compassion, caring, and kindness. So that also means you can cultivate acting instincts, right? That's what I was excited about, because I think that's where acting technique comes in, is that we do have to learn techniques. We have to learn steps for listening, right? And mine is that you're listening for something. That's how I approach listening. So for an actor, now I may be wrong. So I want you guys to decide for yourself that I think it's probably better to use your instincts than your impulses. I think that characters make impulsive decisions and that actors make instinctive decisions. And I think actors who have training and technique, that their instincts are better. And I just would go to a basketball player like Michael Jordan. You know, his basketball instincts weren't terribly good when he was in high school. He didn't even get on the team. But he practiced and practiced, and he learned techniques from a coach. And in practicing those techniques, and so now it's instinctual when he's on that court and he's playing that ball and he throws it for a hoop. Don't ask me all the details. That it's instinctual how he's doing that. He has trained his instincts. I think it's the same thing with acting. That you're training, and that's why it's important to be in class and being with a teacher that makes sense to you, that's giving you, that's what I needed. So I needed a step-by-step repeatable technique. I wasn't taught that, but that's what I developed because that's what I needed, and that's what I felt like my students need. And people who like that come to me. So that then with this repeatable steps, that then they become just second nature, that then when you're in your scene, you're instinctively, your brain goes, who's the most important person in the scene? Oh, the other person. Get over there. Okay, what do I need them to do or say? And that's how it works, okay?